In this mixed media tutorial, I'm going to show you how to enhance your color for stunning results. Using a few simple tricks, we can take your mixed media drawings from dull to absolutely gorgeous. Now, while mixed media sounds and actually is an amazing technique, it does come with its own set of challenges, and a lot of artists actually struggle with how to successfully blend all of these different materials together. You may be wondering, how do I actually blend all my washes, my paints, my pencils, and my chalks together successfully so that it just doesn't all end up muddy? Now, this issue can leave you feeling frustrated and unsure, but don't worry. In this video, we're going to address the specific issues of layering, complementary colors, dealing with your values, and also how to blend all the different materials together. This tutorial was taken from a new course on my Patreon site called Colorful Mixed Media Portraits. So now I'm going to be starting to work in this area here. I've got the hair kind of coming down, and I've got the blue in her sweater along here in her shoulder in this area. But I would like to continue some blue here, and also as I put the black in there, the blue started to get filled in, and I would like to continue the blue up into the hair region, have it kind of merge with the blue down here. So when I was looking at with my watercolor pencils, they're not strong enough to do that job. So what I did, I went digging around my studio and I found chalk pastels that I had hanging around. These are Rembrandts, they're actually very, very good. Anyway, I'm going to start here and I'm just going to test them. So I'm looking at the blue and I looked at this. This is an ultramarine deep by Rembrandt Pastels, and I'm just going to put some there just to see what's going on, just to test. And it looks pretty good, actually. So what I'm going to do, I've got a rag here. I'm going to test. So I'm going to go through a bit of a tester period, and I'm going to try and move some of this color around. I don't want it to look like pastels being put in there, but so I'm just going to blend it. But what I want to do is just move up my blues up into the hair area, and then of course underneath her chin. But I'm just going to sort of move these around for the moment, and it looks like it's doing what I wanted to do. So I've got this one here. What is it? This is called Violet, this one, and this one is called Blue Violet. What do I want? I'm going to try the violet first. So let me just, if I don't like it, I can take it off, just rub it off. Let's see what happens. Yep, it's doing what I want it to do. Was looking for more of a segue using color rather than, mind you, there's value in there as well, but I found the black, what it did, it created too much of a kind of a barrier, or just kind of a harsh change that made the purple look, I don't know, not what I wanted it to look like. So I'm going to move some of the purple in here, in some of her area of her face. With my fancy rag applicator. And there. You really cannot tell. You can't tell that's any different from the background. It's not like you're going, well, how come there's all this pastel on top? No, you don't even think about it. Now I'm going to move in and do some blue underneath her chin here in her sweater area. She has a little sort of white t-shirt thing on underneath her. And she's got a little sweater that goes like this. Now this is back to my colored pencil. So look at that. The pastel, chalk pastel, and my colored pencil working together. Colored pencil takes care of the really fine detail. Chalk pastel simply provides the background. Yeah, so I'm liking that purpley blue element in here as opposed to this heavy black that just kind of cut it right off. It sort of was beginning to kill the effect of using all these colors. So it's maintaining the values in terms of it being dark, but we don't lose the effect of the color. So I'm going to go up to here. I'm also going to introduce the white down here in the dog. The front chest of the dog is very white. So I'm going to try a brighter blue up in this corner here too, just to see what happens. Like I said, no biggie if I'm not crazy about it, because in fact I've got a couple of these here. Do I want that? And I keep definitely not the light pink. It's too much. And this one would probably be the better if I were to put anything in there, which is actually close to what's in the picture. It would be there, but I'm not sure I want this heavy line in there. I'm not convinced right now that I want that. But you can see it's the darker of the two. And I'm just gonna have to think about that for a while. So what I'm working with here is we're going back to the same thing, it's value. So I like the blue in that area, and I just wanted to bring up the value. Even though it's not true to the reference material, I'm just looking at a value shift there. This is my 2B, so we're just going back in there and reinforcing that line a bit. That may have got compromised. Okay, so I don't mind that. I don't mind making the distinction between the space in between and the dog's collar. I don't think I want to make a lot of fuss in the dog's collar though. What I do notice is that I'm wanting to bump up the pink in her lips a little more, try and counterbalance that. Now I've got these very strong blues, a little bit of pink in her face to come up a little bit more. And I'm just putting another layer on her lips. So rather than put all the pink through her sweater, if I just bump that up a little bit in there, and then there's pink in her face, and then certain areas in here, so I'll just bump up the pinks there. So this really is a process. Right now I'm in the editing mode, trying to just put enough to give a context so that it's just not two floating heads. And then the last thing I'll do is in here, which is her hand. So you can see her body is leaning into the dog, around the dog. And it's just enough to sort of give you an idea of what's happening here. What I have here, you can see there's 3 different blues here, but they're all called ultramarine. And obviously what it is, it's the values of ultramarine. This is the darkest value, this is the mid value, and this is a very light value, but they're all called ultramarine. So I'm going to take the darkest value and see if I can do something with the shadowy element here. So you can see, this isn't a hard science. This is a figure it out as you go kind of thing. Put it in, take it out, try something. If you don't like it, take it out. More of the cobalt again in the dog. I don't know why, I just kind of like it. This kind of cerulean blue here. So now I've been just filling in the rest of the color. This is completely arbitrary, okay? I'm not following my reference material. There's a lot of heavy duty pinks in there and, you know, sort of purpley pinks. I don't want them. And I've also brought a lot of my color up in here, made the whole side of her head purple, the hair as well, gone back over the black and made it purple as well with a lot of blues coming up in here. And then arbitrarily creating this cerulean blue and the cobalt blue in the dog just because I want to. That's the way I like it. And putting in all this heavy duty sort of purpley pinks in there, I felt it would just be too much of a distraction from her face, just too much. So there's a lot of editing going on. So I'm keeping the hair simply a colorful mass. I'm trying though to indicate something about her body over here. Not too much, just enough to sort of create a context for why is she there with this dog. So you can see her arm is coming down here. You can see the other arm. But you'll notice I'm not putting a lot of it in. Simple shape with the collar of her sweater. Simple shape here with the collar of her little t-shirt underneath. And then a few little buttons to give, you know, some kind of a context. Same with the dog. And also the dog has a very elaborate collar on, and I don't want it to be elaborate. I don't want to put all the little leaves and the gold leaf and all the little details that are in there because it's just going to be too distracting like everything else. It doesn't matter if we're talking about the polka dots in her hairband, the leaves on the dog's collar, the ribbons on her sweater. All these things are just too much. So I'm just trying to create a focal point and keep the colors harmonized rather than just all over the map. So there we are. Mixed media, whatever the heck works, okay? So these chalks have been perfect. You really can't tell the pastel chalks from the background in the paper. It blends beautifully. This tutorial is part of a full course that I offer on my Patreon site called Colorful Mixed Media Portraits. So if you would like to develop the skills to draw beautiful and realistic portraits, you can. Simply go to the Patreon link at the end of this video and find out how. Also, if you would like to know the specific materials that I'm using, please go to the materials link in the description below. So as we wrap things up, remember, mixed media is all about freedom and creativity. Color can be very emotional and arbitrary. And don't get all caught up with making things look too realistic. Get in there and experiment, and don't be afraid to make things your own. So before we go, I'd love to hear what some of your favorite mixed media techniques are. Feel free to share in the comments below. And if you're looking for more art tips and inspiration, hit that subscribe button for more transformational art videos coming your way. Thanks very much for watching and joining me on this artistic journey. And until next time, stay creative. This is your time to express yourself. Happy drawing, and we'll see you in the next video.